Let's watch this incredible cringe moment from Jota Jordi with Joan Gaspar, former president of Barca, former vice president of the federation, the one who started paying Negreira in 2001. Well, although before that he paid Nunez, who was the president when he was vice president. By the way, years before in the 90s, and Jota Jordi tries to steer him one way, of course, and ends up with something else that leaves him petrified. And it's yet another example of how much of a big mouth Joan Gaspar is, who confesses something that's serious because he also talks about how Barca has behaved all its life. But there's nothing more serious than paying a vice president of the referees for more than 2 decades. Compared to that, this is just an anecdote, a little taste, a silly thing. But it's very funny because he ends up confessing something to him and the other guy will see it right away. And pay attention. We're going to listen to a conversation, part of a conversation between Xavier Estrada Fernandez, I forgot to mention it yesterday, and Sique Rodriguez, the one who uncovered the scandal, the Barcelona-Negreira scandal, which is very interesting. It's been 3 days. We've spent 3 days talking about Xavier Estrada Fernandez, but wow, he really has a lot to tell. And here, well, the man is here. Also, I think he has a podcast, right? That's where the interview with Sique Rodriguez came from recently with a former president who was a referee. That former referee was talking about how the referees were making calls, paying more attention to the back offices than to what they were supposed to be watching. This talks about the importance of the guy who decided your professional future, whether you got paid a certain amount or half of it. And now with what's going on, it's really interesting. We're going to see it right away. Before that, about Suameni, who in an interview said that if it happens again, he said a racist insult against Vinicius. All of us will leave the field and we will stop playing. We are not going to allow these scenes to happen again. And I say, too late. You should have done this before. Anyway, Madrid, what if they had done it when they should have done it at Mestalla? That day, you already know what would have been said about the club and the scandal that would have happened for leaving the field. I mean, it would never have been for any other team and any other player like, wow, look, finally he's leaving because he's had enough, whatever, right? Or to his supportive teammates and so on. Another team, if Real Madrid had done it, things would have turned to, well, criticism, like how is it possible for them to leave the field and for nothing happened? They could have handled it differently, etc. We already know how it would have been, but they should have done it already. Saying it now is too late. Maybe they're taking advantage of losing the league to do it now, right? But anyway, that's what Chomini said. And then another thing about the topic that I already mentioned in the last video about this issue with Real Madrid and UEFA and FIFA, with the reports that they're supposedly going to present to UEFA and FIFA. This is information from OK Diario, where they talk about the two institutions, and it will be in the coming weeks. We've been dealing with this for months, but anyway. That's why I'm putting this on hold for now, because what I do know has been filed is that complaint before the Ethics Committee of the Spanish Football Federation by Juan Luis Martín de Pozuelo, a court-appointed lawyer by profession, and with the collaboration of many of us, we know that has been filed. We know that all the information is being forwarded. All the information is being sent to UEFA. And we know things are being done. About Madrid, we don't know anything. For now, let's see if they do it. But, well, this information says that Madrid is going to submit that detailed report about everything that's happening in Spanish football, hoping that UEFA and FIFA will take action. The referees and their actions in Spain are biased, as has been clearly seen in recent years, and many titles have been decided in favor of Barcelona. The club's statement directly points to the refereeing body, which has influenced the Spanish league with its decisions, especially since the Negreira case broke out. In this 25-26 season, Madrid has felt seriously wronged by the referees in the most recent match days and in the opening ones as well. Real Madrid maintains an excellent relationship with UEFA and FIFA. Well, excellent now with UEFA, but with FIFA, it's true that in recent years, it's been very good, that's for sure. He refers to the last few months and hopes someone will clarify many uncertainties. Real Madrid believes that Spanish refereeing needs an urgent change, and the facts only serve to confirm it. Spanish refereeing is going through one of its lowest moments in terms of international credibility. It's true. I mean, for the World Cup, there was only one referee and another for VAR, and in the last Euro Cup, right? No, for the Club World Cup, they didn't send any Spanish referees. They've earned it, right? They've earned it because of everything that's happened naturally. That's why many people say, no, the Barcelona-Negreira case hasn't had any impact on FIFA from a refereeing point of view. Yes, it has. With the issue of decisions, referee appointments for major events. We'll see about the rest, since that's where I'm headed. What's the Real Madrid report to FIFA about? Have they heard us here this year? Or is it going to be, look, all these years, this has happened in the 2 decades when Barca was paying a vice president of the referees. The referee balance is this. This is the overall picture with a sample of 2 decades to connect one thing with another. Because if not, FIFA is going to say, well, okay, fine, that's how it has to be. And besides, everything has to line up somewhat with how this separate complaint, apart from Real Madrid's, is progressing, the one from Juan Luis. And it's from an ethical point of view, I mean, from the point of view of the associations, UEFA and FIFA, nothing has been done to a club that paid a head refereeing official for more than 2 decades. Disciplinarily, I mean, administratively, from a disciplinary point of view, under Spanish law, that is time barred, but on ethical grounds, it is not. This is not time barred by FIFA, and I don't know if the statute of limitations in UEFA is 10 years. In any case, we're still within the time limits. And that's what it is. It's the tree that needs to be shaken one way or another. And Real Madrid, of course, has much more influence here, but let's see how they present this. If we go by how Madrid is handling it now, lately in the criminal case, in this investigation phase, with that document that Xavier Estrada Fernandez shared the other day from Real Madrid's lawyers, maybe things are going well because Madrid is being very tough on this. But I don't know. When we find out, we'll say it then. This is about Xavier Estrada Fernandez. Now let's move on to Gaspar and Jota Jordi with Sique Rodriguez. Like I said, very interesting. They talk about the clientelist system that was created during the Villerato. And he said this.
Are you trying to describe the corruption that has existed in the world of soccer throughout history? 100%. I mean, I think the Villerato stayed in power because it created a clientelist network that affected various sectors in different parts of Spain, and with various protagonists, which made many people surely get rich from soccer. Barca, I believe, paid to influence, but not because they wanted to win.
They wanted to influence the referees,
but because they believe that historically the referees have favored Madrid, and
they had some power too, right?
Yes, they had their share of power, yes.
Which is a crime here on the moon. It doesn't matter what you want to pay a boss for, although it was clear they were paying him to wield influence. Here, what they want is to soften the issue a bit, but you pay a senior refereeing official because you think Madrid has been getting benefits since Madrid has more power within that organization and so on. And so you want to get in there by paying a senior refereeing official. Well, it's more than obvious, but anyway.
Exactly. This is what people mean when they say football is decided in the corridors of power.
Of course.
No. Well, I don't think so. I bet both hands that Barca didn't want to win a league because the referees need 10 penalties in their favor, and that's how they win it. No. I'm sure 100%. But in the end, I mean, they paid a vice president of the referees for many years. That's a fact.
Yes. Well, I totally agree. In the end, there aren't any media outlets that have tried to, well, raise their voices, right? Seeing what happened, and others that, well, it's probably a topic that makes them uncomfortable, right? And that's why they prefer to stay on the sidelines.
This is real. I mean, we already know what happened. A football club paid a referee's vice president for 17 years. That's it. People may say we'll never know what happened, but we already do. That's all there is to it. That Barca paid a vice president of the referees for 17 years. Is this right or not? For me, it's not. Well, I don't know, because I'm not a lawyer or a judge or a police officer. Ethically, it seems absolutely disgraceful to me. And why did they do it? Well, I explained it before. I already told you. Where did the money go? That's true. We may never know. But it doesn't really matter that much either, because the objective fact is that they paid a vice president of the referees, and you can't pay a vice president of the referees. That's it.
Totally correct. I actually thought it was for sports corruption, since it's a crime completed by the act itself. I mean, just the fact that a vice president receives money he isn't entitled to, given his responsibility as an executive and vice president of the CTA. The first question is Spanish football transparent? Yes or no? No. Will the Negreira case be resolved or concealed?
It will be covered up.
Should the CTA give explanations about the plays every match day beyond just the review time, which for me is useless? Yes or no?
Yes.
Tell us a phrase for the fan who feels like they're being fooled week after week.
Enjoy life.
Well, the thing is that when they say that it's all coming from the pro-Madrid media, that they're trying to drag out the Negreira hoax and I don't know what, stretching things out and so on. Give them this example. A Barca journalist and a Catalan referee, right? And they come to the same conclusion. And besides, there's a very important phrase here, which is that from an ethical point of view, it's a disgrace. Well, that's why everything that's happening is happening from on ethical grounds or through ethical channels, right? Which is where UEFA and FIFA, where the Spanish Football Federation should have done something and hasn't. There's a pretty clear inaction there because Barca is very important and Barca is untouchable. But since no one asked UEFA and FIFA to do anything, they haven't done anything. And that's what they're trying to do now, right? On ethical grounds. On ethical grounds, there has to be some kind of sanction because that's what the ethical codes of these institutions are for. And where one doesn't reach, the federation has to reach the next one, which is UEFA. And if UEFA doesn't reach it, which I doubt because they should, then there's FIFA. There's no other way. That's why I always tell you about the process that has started. All right, let's go with Gaspar's part. Wait, I had it around here. I'm going to minimize this a bit because, well, you already know why. Jay Jordi asks Gaspar this, and this is what the former president of Barca answers.
I ask you to be as honest as possible and to answer me like a psychologist. You have been
At UEFA,
and at the Royal Spanish Football Federation in senior positions.
the Spanish Federation, much more so than at UEFA.
You have seen or heard of situations where a club was exerting pressure. No.
Never. And I have experienced situations where this could have happened and what has been said.
Let me ask you another way. Have you ever seen, for example, a Real Madrid president going down to the locker room area to talk to the referee? You don't see that in
The Federation. You'd know if someone went down. I don't know whether a Real Madrid president has, but I do know a Barca vice president has. To the referee's locker room to give him a Barca jersey so he could give it to his son, because I know that referee's son was a big Barca fan. And so if I have to go to confession over this, well, no.
Right to his face, saying, but I'm asking you about a Real Madrid president and you're talking to me about a Barca one. I don't know if someone from Madrid has come down for this, but I have seen a Barca president come down and give a Barca jersey to the referee because his son was, that's what he said, right? Wait, let me see. I want to make sure I understand this clearly.
I don't know if a Real Madrid president has come down, but what I do know is that a Barca vice president has come down to the referee's locker room to give him a Barca jersey so he could give it to his son, because I know that referee's son was a big Barca fan.
It's unbelievable. The other guy's face like, no, Joan, that's not the way to go, right? Of course, the other guy, well, he's just telling the truth. Anyway, there's one thing that needs to be said. Joan Gaspar got all upset about the Negreira thing and everything, but when the guy started talking, wow. Even if he doesn't want to, he's telling the truth. When he said that thing like, no, of course he was paid because I don't want to put words in his mouth that I don't remember exactly, but every time he's spoken, he's confirmed it. The information that, well, we all already have and that Negreira himself said, right? To pay, or they paid him to ensure neutrality in the refereeing body so that no decision would be made against Barcelona. Every time you get this gentleman to talk a little, he tells you the truth. That's great. And of course, in front of the judge too. I really hope this investigation, honestly, is, well, everything we've seen and everything we've heard only leads to one outcome. It only has one outcome. Even though there's propaganda coming from the Barca camp trying to make it look like everything is very clear here, no, it's actually the opposite. These are the contradictions of the defense, of the defenses, of the different people who are being charged. 2 presidents and 2 others who appeared as witnesses who, if it weren't for timing, would also be charged. And they all contradict each other. And what Javier Enriquez Greira's son said, what the delegate says, etc. Well, things we've already talked about on this channel. I won't bore you any longer. Have a great day and enjoy your Saturday. I was about to say Sunday. Bye.